Hello fellow YouTubers, this is King D3001 bringing you yet another airsoft review. This is the airsoft review of the AK-47 TSF Tactical Side Folding Rifle. Give you a brief history of the AK-47. It was created in 1947 by Mikhail Kalashnikov. AK stands for Automat Kalashnikov. Mikhail served in the Russian military and was injured, and while he was a tanker, and while in the hospital, he learned that the Russian troops were still outfitted with the outdated Mosin Nagants. I mean, they're great rifles, but they're bolt action, so they've got a very slow rate of fire. So he caught wind of the MP44, the German Sturmgewehr, which is stands for storm rifle. And he based his design off of that weapon. And if you feel that I'm wrong, please correct me, but I don't think I am. But enough about a little bit of history. Let's get on to the weapon itself. One thing I'd like to point out right away is the tactical side folding stock is a very nice feature about this. I don't like the stocks that go under because they have pins here, and those pins tend to break very easily. I like the fact that it folds over, but there's some good and bad about this. The bad thing is if you've got a double stack mag like this, the stock won't line up flush against the body. Same with drum mags. Well, some would say this is a bad thing or a good thing. The good thing about it is it pushes the stock out some, so it allows you to get your hand in there and wrap it around the trigger if you're a righty like me. Another thing too, again, it makes it more comfortable so you don't hit your finger. The bad thing is it won't tuck flush against the body, so there could be a chance if you go around a corner or a tree you could snag it on there. But again, I like it that way because again it allows my big hand to get into there. Also too, if you like put your hand right here, you can just swing the weapon around and it just locks in. One thing I suggest you do, like I did on my other weapons, especially on my AK Stubby, is shim it out here with some tape, because where the stock locks in right there tends to be a bit wobbly a little bit. Also another thing too, these various screws that connect here and on the other side, I suggest you take a little bit of blue thread lock and put on there to help it lock in a little bit, because they tend to get loose over time. I'm going to name some of the metal parts upon this weapon. I'm going to start off with the front of the weapon, work my way down. This did not come with the weapon, but the stock flash hider is orange and metal, but I took it off and put on this. From here to here is all metal. Receiver cover is metal. The adjustable sight is metal. The sling point here, which this weapon can be supported by that sling if you want to use a one-point sling. The trigger guard, the trigger, the mag release, the bolt, the selector switch. Of course, from here to here is metal on the stock. I think that's about it. And various other screws and whatnot, but that's about it. Also, too, I want to point out that this weapon has a very positive click on the selector switch. One thing I can say about this one compared to my other AK is that this screw here has never come loose. I've never had any problems with it. The only problem I've had with this is sometimes during semi-auto, when you're pulling the trigger too fast, it can tend to lock up, which is a very easy fix. You just go to full auto, clack, 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 you're back in action, ready to go. That's about the only thing I can think of that's wrong with the selector switch. Another thing, unlike my other Echo one with the hop-up, for some reason the hop-up just wouldn't stay locked in, despite the fact that I tightened the screw down to try to lock it in, unlike my other AK, which you can do. So what I did was I took some foam, like I had some foam left over for that, and I got the hop-up to where it's just beautiful with 20 grams, and I stuffed them in there, and that was several months ago, and it just hasn't moved since. This is a really great weapon. Despite the little niches, don't let this affect you from buying the weapon. The fact that it's a plastic body, I mean, the plastic is really, you can barely hear anything rattle and creak on this weapon, despite the fact that it's a plastic body, and the RIS system is plastic as well. It's really rigid, and I'll tell you, it's got some heft to it, considering this is a plastic-bodied AEG. One of the things I strongly recommend you do, especially if you don't wear gloves, is get a foregrip because if you don't, this wrist system is just going to tear into your hands. It's really sharp and really uncomfortable. Even if you wear gloves, I recommend you get a foregrip. Not only does it look cool, it makes the weapon more stable. You can attach flashlights and whatnot to this thing, and it would look cool, but I just like to leave it like it is. I like the red dot sight on this in the wrist system, so it makes it functional. You'll notice too here that I put a battery bag on this weapon because personally I could not stand taking this receiver cover off, and the biggest battery you can get in there is an 8.4 volt 1200 mAh stick battery, which just did not last very long. So what I did was I took an old flashlight pouch that I had laying around and managed to squeeze in a 9.6 1200 mAh nunchuck battery, and it just gives this thing an insane rate of fire. And it honestly, I think it looks pretty good on there. So I cut out the like little notch right here for this wire to feed through, and the battery wire, and put some black tape around it to help protect it. And it really doesn't stick out. You really can't notice it. I used black ties, wire ties to secure onto the weapon, and it just does not knock the balance off. It really doesn't. If anything, it helps the balance of the weapon. I have to say I'm very impressed with it. I like this gun. Another thing too that's really cool feature is the G27 style grip. What it allows you to do is, if you've got big hands like myself, is it allows you to lock in, grab and hold, and it's just superbly comfortable, even for left and right hand users. Like I said, if I didn't mention before, this weapon chronos in at 335 to 340, which makes it legal, perfectly legal for CQB sites. I've had really good luck with this thing. I've had it, I'd say, about a year now, and it's really been a good weapon. I've had no jams, no misfeeds. The long 455mm barrel or 18-inch barrel is really good. One of the things I could strongly recommend is maybe, which I haven't done yet but probably will, put in a new hop-up bucking and maybe a TV barrel. But other than that, I would leave the gearbox alone. The gearbox runs smooth. I had my friend check it out and open this gearbox up, and the gearbox was shimmed amazingly. The only thing that sucked was the nasty old Chinese grease, but it was shimmed perfectly, and the gears run smooth as butter on this weapon. I like it. It looks really good with this red dot sight. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them at the bottom, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. King D signing off.